It's too warm. I mean, it's definitely warm, but it's overall pretty pleasant. And we are looking at finally a cool down maybe at the early part of next week, but it's going to be a while. We stay warm and breezy, in fact, the next few days. Our fog threat thankfully looks even lower tomorrow. I'll show you our fogcast in a second. And then again, our next cold front may be moving in on Halloween. That could bring some nicer, potentially cooler weather on Halloween a week from today, but we have a whole week to go before we get there. And it's looking kind of similar to what we have now. In New Orleans right now at the Kenner Airport, actually, we're at 84 degrees. We are looking at our dew point temperatures, our humidity up a little bit. It's not terrible, but it is a bit more muggy than it might be this time of year had we had a nice little fall cool front move through. Haven't had that for a while. Temperatures now, most of us lower to middle 80s. And look at the wind. I was pointing this out earlier. The wind started to increase around sunrise this morning, and that's why we didn't see so much fog widespread settling in like we saw yesterday morning. So this morning the fog was not as bad in almost all of our spots. There was some patchy fog, especially very early, but thankfully the winds are up now. Looking at our warm and breezy forecast for today, I have highs probably around 86 again. Southeast winds staying up to about 10-15 miles per hour. But as you saw, they're gusting in those yellow numbers up to near 25 miles per hour. I'll show you why in a second. Here's your hour by hour forecast. And then tonight, temperatures should bottom out in the 60s, partly cloudy skies overnight, and we may even keep the wind around through tonight. This is the beautiful part, especially if you've been worried about the early commuting this week. We still have some of the features. There's still wildfire smoke in general, and it's still kind of humid with surface moisture. But look at this, our fogcast, when you factor in that wind, visibilities tomorrow morning around sunrise, almost perfect. So we will be prepared. We'll be up with you early tomorrow, of course, getting you prepared if there is some patchy fog. But again, if those winds stay up, then we would see the fog threat much lower for tomorrow, which would be a good thing. This is why the winds are stronger. High pressure and low pressure, when you have these two close together, it forces the wind to move through them. So that usually leads to a windier setup, and that's what we have right now. Now, the low isn't going to move in. Really, this is the feature that's more in charge of us. And as we know, high pressure brings stable sinking air. It also tends to heat us up. So that's why we're staying on the warm side for sure the next several days. Talking about the tropics really quickly, this is not really a big concern or issue for our area at all. We have no threats, but there is Tammy, a hurricane out in the Atlantic. It's forecast to become a tropical storm somewhere south of Bermuda, might be sort of meandering in this part of the Atlantic for a while. There's also now the remnants of a tropical depression. Tropical Depression 21 formed up very briefly, then even early this morning, it had already moved into Central America and is now going to be bringing, even though it's not a developed system anymore, it's already weakened and fallen apart, but it's still going to bring some heavy rain to Nicaragua and Honduras in the next couple of days. So a couple of spots out there, but at this point, of course, still no threats to us, and all we'll see is the warm weather with the high, and then eventually that front moving in on Halloween. Halloween, the models, of course, this is just outside of the 7-day, but our models are showing highs maybe in the 70s, possibly getting cooler for the evening, possibly even dropping into the 50s or maybe even north of the lake, upper 40s Tuesday night. So that could lead to a kind of coolish feel for trick-or-treating. It's too early to say. The models are not in great sync just yet, but of course we're going to keep a good look at that forecast and keep refining the forecast as we get closer. Until then, that's your 7-day planner. Temperatures continuing very steady and much warmer than our average of 78 for the high.